My name is Daniel Carter. 3 weeks ago, I had exactly $23 left in my wallet. Rent was overdue. My car had been repossessed, and I had just been fired from my security job. For the first time in my life, I had nowhere to go. That night, while scrolling through dozens of job listings, one advertisement caught my attention. Night security guard needed. No experience required. 7 nights only. $5,000. The location wasn't listed, only a phone number. I called immediately. An old man answered. His voice was calm, almost emotionless. "You want the job?" "Yes." "You start tonight." Before I could ask another question, he hung up. 30 minutes later, a black sedan stopped in front of my apartment. The driver never spoke, not once. After nearly an hour, we arrived. The building stood alone, far outside the city. An enormous hospital. Dark. Silent. Abandoned. Broken windows covered every floor. The front entrance was chained shut. The driver pointed toward a smaller side door. "Go inside." I looked at him. "That's it?" He nodded. "No phones. No visitors. No leaving until sunrise." Then, he handed me an old brass key. Attached to it, a faded tag. Night guard. As I reached for the door, the driver finally spoke again. His voice was lower this time. "If you hear someone calling your name, don't answer." A cold chill ran through my body. I forced a nervous laugh. "Is this supposed to be a joke?" He stared at me, without blinking. Then he said one final sentence. "There is only one rule. Whatever happens, don't open room 307. Before I could ask why, the car disappeared into the darkness. I stood there alone, holding an old flashlight. I reached the driver's door and looked inside. The baby wasn't in the front seat. The crying was coming from the back. My heart started pounding. Slowly, I opened the rear door. There it was. A tiny baby girl, wrapped in a pink blanket. Her face was pale. Her tiny hands were shaking from the cold. She couldn't have been more than a few months old. There was no diaper bag, no bottle, no phone, no note explaining anything. Just the baby. She looked up at me, and for one brief second, she stopped crying. I don't know why, but it felt like she recognized me. I checked every corner of the parking lot. "Hello," my voice echoed through the empty building. Nothing. I shouted again. "Is anyone here?" Still. Nothing. Only the sound of rain hitting the pavement. I reached for my phone. No signal. Perfect. I looked back at the baby. She had started crying again. Louder this time. Desperate. I couldn't leave her there, no matter how strange this felt. I carefully picked her up. She was so light. It terrified me. She felt freezing cold. I wrapped my jacket around her, trying to keep her warm. That's when I noticed something. A small white envelope, hidden beneath the blanket. My name was written on it. Daniel Carter. Not Sir, not to whoever finds her. My full name, every letter. Perfectly written. A chill ran down my spine. How could anyone know me? My hands were shaking as I opened it. Inside, there was only one sentence. Protect her, no matter what. No signature, no explanation. Nothing else. Before I could even process what I had just read, a loud engine roared behind me. I turned around. Another black SUV, flying into the parking lot. Too fast. Way too fast. The windows were completely tinted. I couldn't see who was inside. Instinct took over. I held the baby tightly and ran. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know what they wanted. But something deep inside me was screaming one thing. If they found this little girl, she wouldn't survive. And somehow, neither would I. I didn't stop running. The baby was still crying in my arms, while the sound of the engine kept getting closer. I reached my truck, threw the toolbox into the back, and quickly locked every door. The black SUV stopped only a few feet away. Its headlights were pointed directly at me. I couldn't see the driver. The windows were completely black. For a few long seconds, nothing happened. No one got out. No one moved. Then, the driver's window slowly rolled down. An elderly man sat behind the wheel, gray hair, sharp blue eyes, a calm expression. He looked at the baby, then back at me. Finally, he spoke. "You shouldn't have picked her up." His voice was quiet, but every word felt heavy. I tightened my grip around the baby. "Who are you?" He ignored the question. "Once you touch her, they'll never stop looking for you." A cold feeling spread through my body. "What are you talking about?" The old man sighed. "You have two choices. Leave the child here and drive away, or protect her and lose the life you have." I almost laughed. "What life? I've already lost everything." For the first time, the old man smiled, not because he was happy, because he knew my answer. Without another word, he raised one finger, pointing toward the baby's blanket. "Look carefully." I slowly unfolded the corner of the blanket. Hidden inside the fabric was a tiny silver symbol, a symbol I had seen before, many years ago. Somewhere. I never wanted to remember. Before I could ask another question, the old man rolled up his window. The SUV quietly turned around and disappeared into the rain. I stood there, holding the baby, staring at that strange symbol, and for the first time, I realized finding this child wasn't an accident. Someone had been waiting for me. I stood there for what felt like forever. The rain continued falling. The old man's words kept echoing inside my head. "You've already chosen." I looked down at the baby. She had finally stopped crying. Her tiny fingers were wrapped around my thumb. It made no sense. She didn't know me. She had never seen me before. Yet, somehow, she trusted me. I unfolded the blanket once again. The silver symbol caught my attention. It wasn't a company logo. It wasn't a family crest. It looked ancient, almost like something carved into stone centuries ago. In the very center, there was a strange eye. Around it, a circle of unfamiliar markings. I couldn't read a single one of them. I reached into my pocket and took out my phone. Still no signal. I wanted to take a picture. The moment I opened the camera, the screen suddenly went black. Then, for less than a second, a face appeared. An old woman, pale skin, completely white eyes. She wasn't looking at the camera. She was looking at me. I dropped the phone. It hit the ground. The screen cracked instantly. My breathing became heavier. "No," I whispered. "This isn't real." I picked up the phone again. The face was gone. Only the cracked screen remained. I tried to convince myself that stress was making me imagine things. Nothing more. Then the baby started laughing. Not crying. Laughing. Slowly. I looked back at her. She wasn't looking at me anymore. Her eyes were fixed behind my shoulder. I didn't want to turn around. Every instinct told me to get into my truck and drive away. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. Very slowly, I turned my head. The parking lot was empty. No people, no vehicles, nothing. Then I heard it. A whisper. So quiet, I almost couldn't understand it. "Daniel." I froze. It came again, closer this time. "Daniel." Someone knew my name. Someone I couldn't see. I spun around. Nothing. Only the sound of the wind. Only the rain. Only silence. Then, Every light inside the abandoned warehouse switched on at exactly the same moment. One after another, until every single window was glowing. The building, that had been completely abandoned just minutes ago, suddenly looked alive. The baby stopped laughing. Her smile disappeared. She grabbed my jacket tightly and began shaking. I had no idea what was inside that building, but deep inside, I knew one thing. Whatever had just awakened was waiting for me. I kept staring at the warehouse. Every window was glowing. But there was something even stranger. Not a single shadow moved behind those windows. It was as if the lights had turned on, for no one. The baby held on to my jacket. She wasn't crying anymore. She was completely silent. That frightened me even more. I took one slow step forward, then another. The heavy metal door at the entrance was slightly open. I was certain it had been locked only minutes ago. The rain continued falling behind me. For a moment, I thought about leaving, getting into my truck, driving as far away as I possibly could. But then, I remembered the note. Protect her, no matter what. I took a deep breath and walked inside. The smell hit me immediately. Dust, old wood, rust, and something else. Something I couldn't recognize. The hallway stretched into darkness. Rows of broken chairs lined both sides of the walls. Old family photographs were scattered across the floor. Some were burned. Some were covered in dirt. Every single face had been scratched out. Someone had erased them on purpose. A loud metallic sound echoed somewhere upstairs. Clang. Then silence. I stopped walking. My heart was beating so hard I could hear it. "Who's there?" No answer. Only the sound of water dripping from the ceiling. Drip. 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 I looked down. Fresh footprints. Wet footprints. They hadn't been there a second ago. Someone had just walked through this hallway. Barefoot. The prints continued toward a staircase. Without thinking, I followed them. Step by step, the air became colder. Every light behind me suddenly went out. One after another, until only the light above the staircase remained. The baby slowly turned her head toward the second floor. She raised one tiny finger, pointing upward. Then she whispered. For the first time, she spoke. "Don't let him see you." I froze. She couldn't even be a year old. How could she speak? Before I could react, a loud bang exploded above me. The entire building shook. Dust filled the air. Then, slow footsteps. Someone was coming down the stairs. One step at a time. Slowly. Deliberately. And whoever it was already knew I was there. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Complete silence. I couldn't even hear the rain outside anymore. The baby buried her face against my shoulder. She was trembling. Then, a voice echoed through the hallway. "Daniel." It wasn't loud. It wasn't threatening. It almost sounded kind. That was what frightened me the most. No stranger should have known my name. I slowly stepped backward, keeping my eyes fixed on the staircase. Nothing appeared. Only darkness. Then, a tall figure emerged from the shadows. He wore a long black coat. His face remained hidden beneath a wide hat. He wasn't walking normally. Every movement felt slow, almost unnatural. He stopped halfway down the stairs. Neither of us spoke. For nearly 30 seconds, we simply stared at each other. Then he raised his hand, not to attack, to point. Behind me, very slowly. I turned around. The hallway I had just walked through was gone. The walls had changed. The photographs had disappeared. Even the exit door had vanished. It was impossible. Buildings Don't change. I closed my eyes for a second. When I opened them, everything was still different. The man spoke again. You came much earlier than expected. His voice was calm, almost disappointed. What do you want? I asked. He ignored my question. Instead, he looked at the baby. His expression changed instantly. For the first time, he looked afraid, not angry, not surprised. Afraid. She found you, he whispered. What does that mean? Again, no answer. He slowly reached inside his coat. Every muscle in my body tightened. I thought he was reaching for a weapon. Instead, he pulled out an old photograph. He tossed it across the floor. It stopped at my feet. I picked it up. The picture was old, faded, at least 20 years old. It showed 6 people standing in front of this very warehouse, 5 adults and 1 child. My breathing stopped. The child was me. No, I whispered. This isn't possible. I had never been here before. I would have remembered. The man looked directly into my eyes. You don't remember. They made sure of that. A sharp pain exploded inside my head. Images flashed across my mind. Bright lights, people screaming, a little girl crying, someone carrying me through a burning hallway. The memories disappeared as quickly as they came. I dropped to one knee. The pain became unbearable. The baby gently touched my face. The moment she did, the pain disappeared. Completely. The mysterious man took one slow step backward. They know you're awake now. Before I could ask what he meant, every light inside the warehouse went out. Darkness swallowed everything. Then, dozens of red lights appeared. Not on the walls, not on the ceiling. They were eyes, watching us, one pair after another, until the darkness was filled with them. The baby whispered only 3 words. They found us. Every pair of glowing red eyes was staring directly at me. None of them moved. None of them blinked. The darkness around us felt alive. I couldn't even tell how many there were anymore. 10, 20, maybe more. The baby held my jacket tighter than ever. She wasn't crying. She wasn't screaming. She simply whispered, "They're waiting." A cold breeze rushed through the hallway. The strange man suddenly grabbed my arm. "Don't look into their eyes." Before I could ask why, every red light disappeared. The darkness became completely silent. Then, a loud metallic scream echoed through the warehouse. It sounded like hundreds of heavy doors opening at exactly the same moment. The floor beneath my feet began to shake. Dust rained from the ceiling. Pieces of old concrete crashed onto the ground. The man looked toward the far end of the hallway. His face turned pale. No. They woke him. My heart skipped a beat. Who? He didn't answer. Instead, he pushed me toward a narrow staircase. Run. I don't even know where I'm going. You don't have to. She does. He pointed at the baby. For reasons I couldn't explain, she suddenly stretched out one tiny hand, pointing toward the stairs, almost as if she knew the way. Behind us, a deep growl echoed through the building. Not human, not animal, something much worse. Every window shattered at once. Glass exploded across the hallway. The lights flashed violently. On, off, on, off. For a split second, I saw someone standing at the end of the corridor. A man, over 7 feet tall. His body was unnaturally thin. His arms almost touched the floor. His face had no eyes, only a wide smile. Then, the lights went out again. I heard footsteps, heavy, slow. Each step shook the floor. Boom, 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 the mysterious man whispered. If he sees your face, it's over. I didn't wait. The scratching suddenly stopped. Complete silence. I held my breath. The baby looked at the steel door, without blinking. Then, the numbers carved into the metal began to glow. 307. A deep vibration spread through the floor. The mysterious man stepped back, his face turned completely pale. "No, he's opening it." "What are you talking about?" I shouted. "There is no time." He grabbed my shoulder. "You have to listen carefully. You were never supposed to remember. You were taken from this place 25 years ago. The child was brought back for you." Before I could ask another question, the steel door exploded inward. A freezing wind filled the hallway. The lights burst one after another. Darkness swallowed everything. Only the glowing symbol on the baby's blanket remained visible. The creature entered. It was taller than any man. Its skin looked like cracked stone. Its long fingers scraped across the floor, but its face had no eyes. Only that impossible smile. It stopped, not because it couldn't find us, because it was looking directly at the baby. The old man stepped in front of me. "You have one chance. Run." The creature let out a terrifying scream. The sound shook the entire building. Walls cracked, windows shattered. The old man rushed forward. For a brief second, the creature focused on him instead of us. "Now!" he shouted. I grabbed the baby and ran. The hallway around me was collapsing. Concrete crashed from the ceiling. Pipes burst. Steam filled the air. I couldn't even see where I was going anymore. Then, a bright white door appeared at the end of the corridor. It hadn't been there before. The baby pointed toward it. I pushed the door open. Inside, there was a small room, completely clean. No dust, no broken furniture, only one wooden table, and on top of it, an old file. My hands were shaking. Across the front, someone had written one name, Daniel Carter. Date opened, April 14th, 1999. I slowly opened the file. Inside, there was only one photograph, a little boy, holding the same baby. I stared at the picture, then looked at the child in my arms. It was impossible. The baby hadn't aged, not even a single day. A sudden explosion shook the room. The building was collapsing. Without thinking, I grabbed the file, held the baby tightly, and jumped through the emergency exit. Seconds later, the entire warehouse collapsed behind me. Dust covered the sky. Silence returned. I looked down at the baby. She was sleeping peacefully, as if nothing had happened. Then I looked at my hand. The strange silver symbol had appeared on my skin, exactly where she had touched me. At that moment, I finally understood one thing. I hadn't rescued her. She